Welcome to Part 2 of Blessed Seraphim Rose's article, in defense of Father Dimitry Dudko. 2. Is Father Dimitry an enemy of the Catacomb Church? Some people have accused Father Dimitry of being an enemy of the Catacomb Church of Russia and state that he is virtually a heretic because he does not join the Catacomb Church, but on the contrary stays with the Moscow Patriarchate, and says that one is forced to remain with the hierarchy that has been given us. This kind of critic can see only either/or. If the Catacomb Church exists in Russia, one must join it or be outside the church. When Father Dimitry states that the Catacomb Church is very small, has very few priests, and is not accessible to the people, such critics think that Father Dimitry is only trying to disparage the Catacomb Church and justify his own position as a priest of the Moscow Patriarchate. This criticism comes, quite simply, from ignorance. No one with a realistic awareness of the actual religious situation in Russia today could say such things. Father Dimitri's description of the Catacomb Church coincides exactly with the description of it we have from actual members of that church. It is indeed small, with very few clergy, and it is virtually inaccessible to all but a small number of people. Being illegal, it does not make itself known to outsiders but hides from everyone. It is virtually impossible for an outsider to find any clergy from this church, and out of the question for someone like Father Dimitry, who is well known and under constant watch by the KGB. The most optimistic and sympathetic guess as to the number of catacomb priests does not exceed 200 for the whole of Russia, less than 1 to every million inhabitants, and we find out about these courageous strugglers only if the Soviet police uncover them and bring them to trial. What would be involved for Father Dimitry to join the Catacomb Church? Even if he could find it, that is, let us say, find an actual catacomb priest and attend his services, this is not yet the same as joining it. In the Free West, when a priest wishes for conscience sake to change from one Orthodox jurisdiction to another, let us say, from the ecumenistic Greek archdiocese to the Russian Church outside of Russia, how thoroughly he investigates the whole situation, talks to priests and bishops, attends services, examines exact doctrinal positions, clears up all manner of rumors and tales. And even then he often hesitates for fear of the difficulties that might arise in an organization and with people so new to him. How much more complex is this whole process in the Soviet Union, where only one Orthodox jurisdiction is allowed to exist, where the Catacomb Church is fiercely persecuted and reliable information about it is extremely difficult to come by. At the present time, Father Dimitri's knowledge of it, on the clergy level, can be little more than hearsay, based on contacts with a few lay members. And does one join a new jurisdiction on the basis of hearsay? Even if he could meet a priest, could he ever go so far as to meet a bishop? If not, he could hardly be received into the Catacomb Church. But how could he know that the person he might be introduced to as a catacomb bishop is actually an Orthodox bishop instead of a sectarian impostor, or even a KGB agent? And what catacomb bishop will sacrifice his anonymity to meet with Father Dimitry, who after all might himself be a KGB agent, for such is the air of suspicion in Soviet Russia that literally no stranger can be trusted? What of the conflicting rumors that there is not one but several groups of catacomb Christians who call themselves Orthodox? The true Orthodox Church, true Orthodox Christians, true Orthodox Christian wanderers, etc.? What if one joins an Orthodox sect instead of the actual catacomb Orthodox Church? Critics in the West would surely accuse Father Dimitry of being a heretic and outside the Church if he did that. The real problems involved, and we have given only a few here, in finding and joining the Catacomb Church in Russia are not at all as simple as they seem to someone enjoying the freedom and leisure of the West, where one need only look in a clergy listing or even a telephone book to find official representatives of whichever Orthodox jurisdiction one might choose. But even supposing Father Dimitry could join the true Catacomb Church of Russia, his first public confession of this fact would be the sign for the end of his church activity. He would be arrested instantly for belonging to this illegal organization. In such circumstances, his only purpose in announcing this change would be in order to confess the truth. But why should he do this if this is not at all what the Catacomb Church itself is doing in Russia today? Catacomb clergy do not confess this fact but remain in hiding until they are caught by the police. We in the Free West have little enough right to judge someone there, in enslaved Russia, for failing to be an open confessor, but if we insist on judging Father Dimitry for this, then we surely should condemn the whole catacomb church for the same thing. No one aware of church life in Russia could possibly condemn Father Dimitry for not joining the catacomb church. If he did, it would be a miracle, but it is not something we could expect or demand of him. In actual fact, Father Dimitry's activity in the past several years has been very much in the spirit of the catacomb church in its early years. We have already mentioned his suffering orthodoxy, his apocalyptic awareness, and his veneration of the Tsar martyr Nicholas II. Further, his bold accusations against the betrayal of orthodoxy by his own bishops have not been heard in Russia since the days of Metropolitan Joseph and other founders of the catacomb church in the late 1920s. And the fervor of his heartfelt orthodoxy is so far from the dreary legalism of the Moscow Patriarchate that it can only be compared with that of the early martyrs of the catacomb church in Russia. Let us see now what Father Dimitry himself has said about the catacomb church in Russia, about his own attitude to the Sergianism of the Moscow Patriarchate, and about his view of the church situation in general in Russia. We all recognize Patriarch Tikhon, and we look on Patriarch Sergius as a betrayal of the church's interests to please the authorities. The following patriarchs, Alexei and the present Pimen, only go on the road already opened. We have no other hierarchy. The catacomb church would be good, but where is it? The true Orthodox Church, these are good people, morally steadfast, but they have almost no priesthood, and you simply can't find them, while there are many who are thirsting. And one has to be ministered to by the hierarchy we do have. Immediately the question arises, are they ministering to us? Basically, they are the puppets of the atheists. And another question, at least, are they believers? Who will answer this question? I fear to answer. Thank you for listening. Please continue to part 3.